Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Festival of Apprenticeships. And it's National Apprenticeship Week, and it's the first day of National Apprenticeship Week. And I know many of you were expecting to see us in person at a face-to-face event. However, we thought we would make sure before we do come back in person, everything was safe and well to do so. So we've introduced this online version, especially for National Apprenticeship Week. So the Festival of Apprenticeships is powered by Pathway Group and our headline partners, JP Morgan and Tesco Maintenance, as well as sponsored by EY and Travis Perkins. We also have university partners, Manchester Metropolitan University, Aston University, and London South Bank University. And we're really proud to have the official media partner as Career Map. Now, we're going to start off today's session with just a really light introduction to some of our partners and the type of apprenticeship opportunities that they have. We'll also have a bit of a discussion about the benefits of apprenticeships and how you as individuals can get involved in apprenticeships. So to start off, I'm going to hand over to Philip Page from JP Morgan. Good afternoon, Philip.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Yes, lovely to get a chance to talk to you. I look forward to hopefully seeing a lot of you at the in-person events later in the year as well. So my name is Phil Page. I head up the emerging talent team here at JP Morgan. JP Morgan, large American financial services and technology firm. We've offered apprenticeships here for 10 years, so we're celebrating a decade of apprenticeships this year. And the ones that we offer are both in the financial services sector and also the technology sector. And in both cases, we're partnered up with the University of Exeter, and providing degree apprenticeships in both those areas from our offices in London, but also our offices in Bournemouth, and also we have our technology office in Glasgow, where we work with the University of Strathclyde to provide a very similar degree apprenticeship or graduate apprenticeship as referred to in Scotland too. I say we've done this for about 10 years now. We've had more than 550 apprentices come through the programme. And what's really exciting now is they've kind of grown into roles. Some of them are managing, some of them are traders in the firm, but the vast majority, more than 95% of them, are still here at the company, which we're really thrilled about.
Thank you, Philip. Now on to Jordan from Tesco Maintenance.
Hi everyone, I am Jordan. As mentioned, I am just from Tesco Maintenance. We have, we're quite early on in our apprenticeship journey in comparison. We do apprenticeships in property maintenance. So we basically say everything within a Tesco store, which isn't food, is looked after by the Tesco Maintenance apprentices. We have a 2-year programme, which is a level 2 apprenticeship in property maintenance. That then leads on to a full-time permanent position. As I said, we are early on, but we absolutely love everything maintenance. And if you want to be hands-on, if you want to earn while you learn, an apprenticeship with Tesco Maintenance is a great opportunity. We recruit nationwide as well. So that's where we currently are.
Brilliant, fantastic. Mariana, would you like to go next?
Yeah, hiya. So I work within the LEAP team, which is the apprenticeship provider for a few businesses, but predominantly Travis Perkins. So if you haven't heard of Travis Perkins before, we're the UK's largest distributor to the construction industry. And we've got more branches than McDonald's and more fleet than Eddie Stobart. So quite a big business, but we often aren't heard of being in the construction industry. So within LEAP, we offer over 40 apprenticeships. These can range from understanding the brand that you work for within the Travis Perkins group. This can be HR, health and safety, data, finance, driving. There's a huge range. So love to chat about those more throughout the week.
Brilliant, fantastic. And certainly last but not least, Stephen from EY.
Thank you, Kasim. Super good afternoon and hello to everyone. So I'm Stephen, I'm from EY. We're a client-facing firm with 21 offices across the country. We work in various areas, including tax, assurance, technology, transactions, sometimes called corporate finance. They're a very client-facing firm with various opportunities in many locations. We've got a session at 6 o'clock with my colleague Nathan and others who will tell even more. But we have 2 apprenticeship programs. the business apprenticeship and the degree apprenticeship in digital and technology. And there's also a feeder program for those in the lower sixth, as it were, year 12, called the EY Business Academy, which is a 1-week experience that feeds into those. Very briefly, the EY Business Apprenticeship is in areas, 4 areas: assurance, IT risk and assurance, tax and transactions, where, as mentioned, our apprentices are working with local, national and global clients, from startups to big organisations, and building skills and training to learn on the job and via the colleges. And then there's also the degree apprenticeship in digital and technology, which is for those particularly tech-focused individuals. That's part of our wider technology team. So that enables our clients to find new ways of working, artificial intelligence and other innovative technologies to improve their business. And there's specialism there possible in software engineering or data analytics. So there's 2 entry routes there for those interested in doing an apprenticeship, which I can certainly recommend.
Brilliant. Thank you so much to all of you for joining us this afternoon. It's a real pleasure to talk about apprenticeships, and it's often apprenticeships are misconceived for just being blue-collar trade qualifications. However, we're seeing things are changing. Now, I know we've got 2 people from the construction industry, maintenance industry, which is typically blue-collar, but then we've also got 2 people from the professional services sector. And I think even with Mariana may be able to tell us a bit more about this, even within the construction sector, you don't necessarily have to do an apprenticeship that's related to construction. So Mariana, would you like to tell us more about the kind of opportunities that Travis Perkins have to offer, which aren't necessarily construction, which...
Yeah, of course. So as I kind of briefly mentioned, we offer apprenticeships to do with finance. So being obviously such a big company, there's a whole financial group you can be part of. We've got the data apprenticeship, the HGV driving to help with that current crisis, health and safety, leadership, management, and that ranges all from a level 2 to up to a degree and a master's, which tend to be fully funded by the government as well.
Brilliant, fantastic. And Jordan, would you like to come in here and maybe give us a bit more of an overview of Tesco and the overall, and how Tesco Maintenance fit in with the overall brand?
Yeah, sure. So like I said, we look after everything within a store which isn't the food. So it can be anything from fixing the chicken ovens to something on the petrol forecourt. It really is a mix of roles that our apprenticeship can take on. Again, I know going into maintenance isn't for everyone, but if you love being hands-on, it really is a great opportunity. Following on from that as well, it isn't just that you're then within the maintenance world. So Tesco Maintenance itself, we do have office facilities. So people like myself, I am office-based. I'm not out there being hands-on. You can then go into, say, a management role. There is a lot going on out there in the industry.
Brilliant, fantastic. And Stephen, people may find accountancy a bit boring, but you know, it's not all about auditing, is it, with EY?
It's not all about auditing at all. There's the more you look into professional services, I'm sure JP Morgan will say the same, the more routes there are in the business, because there are, you know, general interest in business and finance is obviously important as you come through the process, but you don't need a business or finance or mathematical background to apply to us. All you need to do is find your fit and what particularly interests you. Some people that might be numbers or data or analytics or technology. But there's also other skills as well. So we're a client-facing firm, so it's speaking to business and having that kind of interaction and enjoying solving problems as well. So it's got that business focus. But such, you know, our openings as well. You know, you start with a large cohort of apprentices as well. So there's also the social side and various activities you can get involved in our clubs and societies. So it's not all kind of work focus either. Yeah, that's a really essential part of the role. But you know, you're also continually learning. You've got the college college route and the opportunity to study towards a professional qualification, which our grads do, and you ultimately get the same result, but a bit sooner, and without the university debt and those other kind of things, considerations. But now, as I always say to students when I meet them at events and fairs, take time to look at the websites, have a look at the opportunities, and see which one fits with you. Because I think if you find the passion and the interest that meets you as an individual and your personality and your motivations, I think that will shine through, and that will certainly help you kind of progress through and find the opportunity that you need, whether that's at EY or one of these other firms or one of the other countless firms that offer apprenticeships as well.
Thank you so much. Phil, would you like to add to that at all in terms of, the benefits and the different types of roles of working with, a large organization like JP Morgan? Is it just one type of role, or what are the different opportunities that you guys offer?
Sure. Yeah, so it's certainly not just one type of role. I think, Steve's exactly right. Anywhere within financial services, anywhere within any of the companies that you've got here today, you'll find lots and lots of different roles available. So here this year we hired 110 apprentices into the firm. I know they went into, I think it was about 45 different departments within the firm, and that's everything from technology, which could be cybersecurity, it could be coding, it could be working with infrastructure, data analytics, or it could be in the business when you're working alongside clients, making sure they get what they need, working in operations roles, making sure the very, very large amounts of money that move through the firm every day do exactly what it's meant to do when it's meant to do it in a very controlled way. It's hugely diverse, and what that means in turn is that the sort of individuals that we're looking for are themselves hugely diverse. I mean that in terms of the mindset, and a few people touched on already. The skills that we look for are really the most important point. It's trying to match up, your skills, your interests, alongside what you may be able to use or develop within the apprenticeships. And I think I'll pick up one point that Jordan made just now around. Tesco's had this kind of really good connectedness between their programs, and I think a lot of companies are now trying to do this. And I think that's a great thing, where you don't just join to do a program; you're joining to then join the company. You do the program. Maybe there's another program after that you go on to, so you're kind of continually learning. Or maybe at that point you decide, actually, I've done enough of that. I'm going to continue my career within the firm now. It's more of a journey than just like a one-time engagement, I suppose, that you're making, and that's, I think, one of the best things about apprenticeships.
Thank you so much, Phil. I think a lot of people have the misconception that apprenticeships are mainly low-level qualifications. It sort of, doesn't really lead on to anything. It's just a job where you're doing low-skill job, and you may get a qualification at the end of it. Mariana, are you able to come in and maybe tell us a bit more about higher-level apprenticeships and the type of progression routes that exist within your organization?
Yeah, definitely. So like I said, you can start at a level 2 and get a good kind of basic understanding of a business or sales and how that works, and you can go through a range of the 40 odd apprenticeships that we run and go up to the master's and degree level. I wouldn't want to put a number on it, but the amount of people I've spoken to who said the apprenticeship has helped them get to what position they're in now is very, very big. We as a business really, really encourage development. So whenever you do an apprenticeship within one of our groups, we always look at the progression routes. So when you have like your coach mentor as well, we'll always ask the question, where do you want to get to? What's your goals? And how we can support you as an apprenticeship team, but also working with those businesses. So definitely lots of room for opportunities and progression. That's something we really, really encourage. Fantastic.
And Stephen, I just want to come back to yourself, because I know EY have this whole thing around progression and the professional qualifications you can get with EY. Are you able to talk a bit more about sort of the different routes? Because I think it's interesting. The thing we talked about previously was, you don't just have to do one thing. There's so many different opportunities. And how can a young individual, first of all, find out more about starting their route into an apprenticeship, but then how can they navigate their way through to their end goal?
Yeah, good question. Certainly. Yeah, you're right. There's so much diverse kind of openings and avenues that students can take. I think, you're researching your firm, you're researching the opportunities. I think it's also important to obviously research the professional qualifications. because the majority of our roles will be kind of towards the accountancy qualifications and tax qualifications as well. So, you know, having a look into that, ICAW, SCI, ICAS, Scotland, etc., and various other firms with different openings, that's a very relevant question, because I think one of the things that our grads have to take on as well is that responsibility to kind of learn and to have college time, and to kind of focus there and complete that part, you know, away from the client work. I think it's also beneficial for students who apply to understand the balance required between kind of client work or business work and when they're at college, and how the firms organise that time. Generally nowadays it's within kind of the general working week, so that you're not expected to do kind of evening study or weekend study, which was obviously quite a big extra responsibility. So, you know, understanding how it's structured as well. I think when you said before about kind of understanding more about the openings and how to kind of go through that route, I think employer website is a really important source. Apprenticeship openings are listed on sites. It's important to know the timeframes as well, because most employers will open around about September, October time, and will then, you know, recruit through from there. And if you're applying, you know, around Easter time or May, then you may have obviously missed the opportunities for that intake, and then may have to wait until the following September as well. So it's important to kind of time your applications and your interest right. Certainly at the moment in early February in National Apprenticeship Week, there's thousands of opportunities out there for students to look into. So it's a good time now, and EY, you know, is still very much open and taking interest across the country. But employer websites is key. To utilise teachers and other support there is. Other friends who are maybe looking at apprenticeships. I think as well that there's the flip side of the coin, that a lot of students and students will be looking automatically at the university route, simply because that's maybe where their parents expect them or assume that they'll go to, or maybe where some teachers at school kind of presume is the automatic route. And nowadays, increasingly, that's not the case. So I think there is opportunity there for students to have a look into the opportunities and understand for them if it's right for them at this stage in their career. So employer website, resources, you know, various kind of government resources on apprenticeships, and other kind of, you know, employer sites as well as kind of, I always say, kind of general Google searches about the benefits of apprenticeships and the opportunities they can bring. So I think that's a big part of the equation, to understand why you want to do an apprenticeship or why it appeals to you, and then go from there and kind of have a look at what the routes are that kind of resonate with oneself, and then kind of apply. I think if you equip yourself with that knowledge and that passion and that motivation, I always find that then flows through to interviewing. Even though you may have a multi-stage recruitment process with some interviews and some tests, I think you kind of then feel a bit ready and prepared, and kind of that passion that you have for a role will then shine through, hopefully, and help students to get the position that they want to achieve.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Stephen. That was really insightful. I'm going to come back to you, Phil, in terms of how would you just building up on what Stephen was talking about in terms of how to actually apply for apprenticeships. Are you able to give a bit more insight into that? And, you know, you mentioned key dates, National Apprenticeship Week, September being a key time when, you know, large organizations are recruiting.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, in terms of those kind of timeframes, I guess, yes, a lot of firms do line up very much alongside the kind of timeframe that UCAS would work for, right? And that's no coincidence, because, you know, ultimately, particularly if you're looking, for example, at a degree apprenticeship, it's not so different what you're going to get into. You know, if I think about it, the way the apprenticeship conversations evolved over the years, it used to be, do you want to get a degree? Go to university. If not, here's what apprenticeships can offer you. Well, now you can, you know, you've got, as well as the amazing apprenticeships which were there already, you've now got these degree and master options. So now the debate becomes not, do you want a degree? Yes, no. It's how would you like to study for your degree if you're coming into us, for example, or other firms offering degree apprenticeships. And that's more the question that students will ask themselves. If you are somebody who likes studying in what I would describe as a kind of a traditional academic sense, then university could be a good fit for you, right? And you'll go and you'll learn an awful lot about that subject, and then, you know, look for internships and graduate schemes and so on. If, on the other hand, you're someone who you're thinking, actually, I'd prefer to be learning something by actually doing it, then that's why an apprenticeship can be a really good lineup for you. The other question you've got to ask yourself, though, is, are you ready? Okay, because if you're coming into an apprenticeship space, we're going to ask the same of you as we do of our graduates. Okay, and the difference is, you're a little bit younger. But if you think about two students for a second, one who decides to go to uni and one who decides to do a degree apprenticeship, and let's consider how it worked for them. Assuming if they're both kind of leaving year 13 this year, one's going to do a degree, let's assume it's a 3-year degree, that's kind of standard, then he or she will go on to do a graduate program, normally 2 years long. Okay, so 5 years long, 5 years after finishing school, they'll have finished their graduate program at the firm, and certainly for us at JP Morgan, we would then consider them like an associate level within the company. The person who's come in as an apprentice has done 4 years of an apprenticeship program, so it's a bit longer to get the degree because you're doing it in a kind of part-time study mode whilst working, but then they get that same level, that same associate level, right? In terms of kind of pay and promotion, everything else, they're the same then, but the apprentice is a year ahead. Think now, if you were a manager of those two individuals, okay, who's more valuable to you at that point? I would make the case it's probably the apprentice, because he or she, they've got 4 years of directly relevant experience, whereas the graduate, they may have done an internship, but that's probably all the experience they would have at that point. So the progression from that point is really down to the individuals. In terms of getting there, I would say it's harder to find information about apprenticeships than it is about universities still. And I both hate that and like that. I hate that because it's difficult for the students, right? And I feel for you guys as you're trying to find out all these different apprenticeship opportunities. Like Stephen says, quite often you have to go to the company websites and find the details about these things. There are web portals you can go to, but there's probably not something as all-encompassing as the likes of UCAS, as Unifrog might be for universities. So I hate it for that reason. I like it because students who found the opportunities and have applied to the apprenticeships, when I see them coming into the assessment centre, I already know they're the ones who put in that little bit of extra effort to try and find what's out there. And they've probably already shown me some of the skills I'm looking for. And it's all about showing the employer the skills and the potential that you have.
Thank you so much. It's amazing how quick time goes when you're talking on these sessions. Mariana, have you got anything to add to this conversation about how to apply? Because I can understand things may be slightly different with your organisation in terms of the application process and the type of apprenticeships you offer, especially as you represent a number of different companies as well as just Travis Perkins itself.
Yeah, so likewise, a lot of our apprenticeships are only advertised through our website, so it is a bit difficult to reach much wider audience. But we run apprenticeships on 2 bases, so you can be employed as a colleague into one of the brands, and then if there's a training and development need, you can then go on to an apprenticeship. So again, you do that alongside your normal day job. We tailor your day job a bit nicer so that you're not working in the evenings and weekends on the apprenticeship work. Or you can be hired as an apprentice, so straight away going into an apprenticeship program, still having a day job alongside that, but it just kind of kickstarts the kind of industry knowledge and understanding a bit quicker. But those are for all of our apprenticeships, so you can join as an apprentice or do them alongside your job.
Brilliant, fantastic. Well, we're coming quite close to the end of today's session. Mariana, do you want to talk about what people can expect on your session later on this week?
Of course. So on Wednesday, we're doing a session based on empowerment. So we didn't want to basically do the typical career development. We wanted to really talk about how we can help you and how you can also help yourself. So we'll look at a bit of how you can empower yourself as a young person. And then we'll look into the brand of Travis Perkins and how they encourage young people to join the business, and how we really give you all the skills and opportunities to be yourself and to do bigger things within a big organisation.
Fantastic. Stephen, do you want to talk about your session later on today?
Absolutely. Thank you very much. I'll be brief because of time, but we've got my colleague Nathan who's attending later today. We've got 2 apprentices who are currently working at EY and doing the nitty-gritty and the college work. And they'll be sharing insights about what they get up to, what they enjoy about apprenticeships. And I always say, kind of take the opportunity to ask lots of questions and find out really what it's like on the ground. Because I despair sometimes at corporate websites and how corporate talk and complicated they can be. So I think, events like today, other events that are going on our website and, the other sponsor firms' websites, just encourage everybody to look into those. It's certainly a journey, and the more information that people can glean from fantastic days like today and from the sessions we've all got coming up, the better. So yes, it's certainly take opportunity to ask questions to Nathan and our team later on at 6 o'clock.
Brilliant, fantastic. And yourself, Phil, I know you was telling me you've got your session ready. What can we expect later on this week?
Sure. So tomorrow evening at 6 o'clock, we've got my colleague Jodie will be talking with 3 of our current apprentices who are at kind of different stages of their programs, and they're on different programs, but really with a focus more on their journey to getting there. So not so much about the day-to-day about what is to be a JP Morgan apprentice. That's we wanted to kind of go a little bit wider and just talk about what is that journey like between where the students are now and kind of getting into the apprenticeship. What's that gap? So they'll be exploring that tomorrow evening.
Brilliant, fantastic. Well, thank you so much to everyone for joining us this afternoon. Our next session is going to be on the role of universities in apprenticeships, and that's to give you guys a bit more of in-depth information on degree apprenticeships, how universities are involved in the apprenticeship sector, and how you can find out more about the balance between going to university and doing an apprenticeship. So we look forward to seeing you all on the next session. Thank you so much. If you need any further information, do feel free to send us an email. If you've got direct questions to either of our speakers today, please send them through to me and I'll forward them on to them. Thank you so much, and keep tuning in to the rest of the sessions this week. Take care. See you.